Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. So if you're watching this video, you're obviously a fan of the Halloween franchise in some way or another, whether you're a casual fan or a full-on fanatic. You fall somewhere in the spectrum of liking the Halloween franchise in some way or another. Now, with that being said, regardless of how you feel about Halloween Ends, whether you love the movie, whether you hated the movie, or whether you fall somewhere in between, you gotta admit that we're at a little bit of a crossroads with the franchise. This is the first time, in my opinion, where we've had a definitive end. Yes, you can say that H2O is a definitive end, but obviously they retconned it with Resurrection, so they've done this before where they've definitively ended the series and then they retconned it and ended up continuing. So that's not to say they couldn't do this with this, but for me, because of the age of the actors and actresses, this feels like more of like a crossroad and a close of the chapter of this particular Halloween story. So with that being said, with Jamie Lee Curtis getting older, with her probably not returning to the franchise obviously at all as Laurie Strode, we have a unique opportunity to restart or just redo something or find a way to make the series a little bit different and more interesting. So through polling the community and kind of talking to you guys in the comments of the videos that I've made and all the polls I did, like I said, and also coming up with my own ideas, I've come up with a list of potential ideas for what they could do for the future of the franchise. Some different opportunities that they could explore to try and shake up the franchise, maybe do some different things, maybe reboot some things that we didn't think they could reboot and whatnot. But anyway, so I have about 7 things I want to talk about in this video. There's not a ranking thing, it's just more or less just going off your ideas and my ideas, and yeah, we're gonna talk about this today in this video, so let's get started. So the first one I have for you guys is called the Legacy Character Reboot, where we could explore bringing back some of the younger actresses and actors from previous movies, similar to what they did in the most recent trilogy with bringing back Tommy Doyle and whatnot. But what we could do is we could bring back somebody like Danielle Harris, because Danielle Harris, if you didn't know, played Jamie Lloyd in Halloween 4 and 5, as well as she played Annie in the Rob Zombie reboots. And I like Danielle Harris. I think she did a great job in all the roles she's played so far, and I'm pretty sure that she would love to come back to the franchise because she seemed to really like coming back to the Rob Zombie movies. So I'm pretty sure if they reached out and asked her to, she would come back for any future Halloween projects. As well as we can obviously bring back Andy Maddock, I think that's how you pronounce her name, who played Allison in the most recent trilogy. I'm pretty sure she would love to come back. And then we can also maybe explore the idea of a Loomis estranged son. Maybe they had some issues and had a falling out, but now he's trying to like take over his father's legacy. That's been something that's been kind of passed around the community for years, is maybe exploring the idea that Loomis had a son that, you know, he didn't really talk about and whatnot. So regardless of how they slice it, what they could do is they could bring back like an older Jamie or something like that, and maybe have her meet a Allison, and they find out that Jamie was the estranged daughter of Laurie, and she, you know, and Allison didn't know about her, and maybe even Allison's mom didn't know about her, and then they meet and they find out that, you know, she's the granddaughter and she's the daughter. And then we can also maybe introduce Loomis as the son, and then maybe they have some interactions there, and then Michael's involved some way or another. I know that sounds like a mess, but at the same time, in concept, it would be good. It'd be kind of interesting to have all these legacy characters from these famous people that were in the movies before. So anyways, yeah, so that's kind of like the legacy character reboot. Like I said, it's not perfect, but at the same time, I feel like it'd be a different direction. It's something that we could explore to bring back some of these younger people who have been in the franchise and introduce a Loomis son for once, because everybody's been talking about it for years. All right, so the next one is just doing a full-on reboot, just completely starting with a brand new story, a brand new Myers, maybe exploring some new characters that we haven't seen before, a new story, and just a bunch of various things. Now, this is completely possible. I mean, like I said before, Ends is just a firm end to this particular chapter, in my opinion. So they have the opportunity, if they wanted to, just to completely start over with a brand new franchise, just like what they did with Rob Zombie's Halloween. So this technically could work. I mean, it's a more simpler idea. Maybe we could not have the Laurie Strode character this time involved, or they could just recast her like they did with Rob Zombie's movies, like I said. So this is an option as well. Just, it's a simpler option, just doing a full reboot, new characters, new story, new everything. So that's definitely an option as well. So a third option we can do is we can just ignore Halloween Ends and act like it didn't happen. I mean, we have multiple ways we can go with this. They can just remake Halloween Ends similar to what my script was that I wrote for a video that I did recently, where I rewrote the Halloween Ends script, and they can make it more of a Michael v. Laurie thing, or whatever they want to do. They can just remove the Corey Cunningham character, or they can do anything they want. They can just remake Halloween Ends. That's a more crude way of doing it, but they could do that. But the more popular way they could probably do it is they could just ignore Halloween Kills or Halloween Ends and continue directly after Halloween Kills, or do some sort of time gap or something like that. And because the way Halloween Kills ends, it's very ominous, right? He kills Karen, Laurie's daughter, and then he's just staring out the window. That's the way the theatrical version just ended. So we could just continue from that story arc, whether it's the same night, whether it's just, you know, a time gap where Laurie maybe dies during this time frame, and maybe we continue from Allison's perspective and Michael comes back. I don't know. There's like a bunch of different ways they can do it, but the way they ended Kills, technically with the Myers wins type timeline, we can full on do that. We can just ignore it and act like ends didn't happen and continue from Halloween Kills. So yeah, like I said, this is an option. Is it a likely option? Probably not. Maybe not for like a number of years, maybe like a decade or so, we won't see something like this, but yeah, the studio can do it. All right, so this next one is actually my personal favorite on this whole list, and that's gonna be they can continue after Halloween 4 and just act like Halloween 5 and 6 never happened. It's because I still say this today, is that the Halloween 4 ending is by far the best ending that we've gotten so far in the franchise, because it was so ominous, right? Jamie killed her stepmom and she's standing at the top of the stairs. Is she gonna become the next killer? Is she gonna become just like Myers? I don't know, it's crazy. And then they ruined it with Halloween 5 by making her a mute and all this stuff. Anyway, I talked about this at length when I made my Halloween 5 script in one of my videos, if you wanna go check that out after this one. But anyway, so during that script, what I talked about is I wanted Jamie to kind of be in the sanitarium, maybe become a killer like Myers, maybe be kind of corrupted by the evil, so to speak. So that was one way we could go about it. One way we could do it, just kind of talking about similar concepts as the legacy thing, is since Danielle Harris is an older actress now, we could just have Jamie kind of sitting in the sanitarium similar to Michael, how he was doing, and she's older now, and then she breaks out like Myers, and then Jamie kind of stalks around similar to Myers. Maybe we can introduce Myers later into the movie. I don't know, but there is endless things that we could do with this, and I think that us rewriting the wrong that was Halloween 5 and continuing right after Halloween 4, maybe showing like some highlights of her, like, you know, going to the sanitarium and then she's being interviewed by Loomis. Maybe Loomis's son takes over as her doctor as she gets older because Loomis dies off, and then Laurie is dead, obviously. I don't know. Like I said, I'm really passionate about this, and I think a Halloween 4 story after Halloween 4 would actually be really awesome. So this is one way they could do it as well. So the reverse of this is my least favorite idea, which is we can continue after Halloween 6. Now, the way they ended Halloween 6 was also ominous, right? With the producer's cut more specifically, and even the theatrical cut technically was a cutaway, so we don't really know what happened with Myers and Loomis. But with the producer's cut, let's take that for example. Myers technically swapped costumes with the guy in charge of the sanitarium. I can't remember exactly, the guy in charge of the cult. And when Loomis found him, he took the mask off. He realized, oh my gosh, it's the, you know, the other doctor or the cult leader. And then Michael walks away as the man in the black suit. So it leaves it open. Technically, we could continue the story after Halloween 6, continue maybe the cult idea. It's not my favorite idea because I absolutely hated the cult stuff, but it's fun to watch. But I did not like the cult stuff. It was very like mundane and kind of all over the place. But at the same time, it is possible for them to continue right after Halloween 6 because they did technically end it on an ominous note. The sixth thing they can do is obviously just redo the idea again of just continuing the franchise right after Halloween 1978 and ignoring everything else. Again, this is not one of my favorite ideas because we just did this, but it is possible. They could just say like 1978, then they can continue a different story, maybe just make it like a series. I don't know, but they could do something like that where they just eliminate everything and just continue after 1978 again. Again, do I think they're going to do this just similar to the Halloween Ends Ignore It type thing? No, I don't think they're going to do this because they just did that. But again, nothing's out of the realm of possibility, so this is possible for them to do this again. This seventh one is actually another interesting one, similar to the Halloween 4 idea, where I really do like it, is they could just continue after 1978 and 1981 again, where they eliminate Halloween 4 and actually do a different version of it, and they could start a trilogy based on that. And we could have a much more polished movie, in my opinion, with that idea. Because yes, technically Michael burned alive in Halloween 2, but they can do the same thing like they did in Halloween 4, but they could make a much more burned Myers. So we can actually have a full-on head-to-toe burned Michael Myers for once that survived and it's been treated for a decade, 20 years, whatever. We could just do some time gap. And we could get like, you know, just a little bit of a different feel. They could just redo kind of those ideas from Halloween 4 and make them a little bit more polished. So this is completely possible for them to do a full-on ignore everything except for 1978 and 1981 and continue the story from there. And personally, I would actually like to see what they would do with modern technology and see how they would do this. So yeah, this is definitely one of my more popular opinions as well. All right, so obviously there's way more ideas out there that I haven't thought of or the community hasn't even talked about yet, but that's where you guys come in. I want to know what ideas you guys have for what way they can bring the Halloween franchise back. I mean, whether you like the ideas that we talked about in this video today or you have other ideas, I want to hear them because I just want more Halloween at some point. Maybe take 4 years off just to give us some time to process ends and kind of enjoy some aspects of the franchise again. But I don't know. I want to see the Halloween franchise come back strong, and I want to hear you guys' ideas, and maybe we can get some of these to the studio so they can make some better movies. But nevertheless, thank you so much for watching this video, and as always, I'll see you next time.